Alright, so as some of y'all know, I'm a depressed fellow. I'm so mentally ill that it runs straight through my blood, veins, and DNA. And I believe this downward spiral has started for almost a year now. And throughout this downward spiral, I've been trying my best to further develop my music tastes. I guess I kinda have to focus on myself here. I further developed my taste in hip-hop, old school pop, a very tiny smidge of jazz, and rock. And judging by the direction of this video, you can probably guess where I'm going with the rock genre I described. Depression plus rock equals one of the only few rock bands that I'd ever actually listen to. And that's none other than Radiohead, the godsend of rock, by Rolling Stone standards. Those of you mentally ill folk that know enough about Radiohead definitely know about their greatest albums, including the legendary immortal OK Computer and the relaxing Transcendent in Rainbows. However, there's one album that I enjoy out of the both, and that's the experimental dark Kid A. Now, y'all know about the history of Kid A, but to those in the back, I'm talking to you, Maddie, 100 gex looking motherfucker. After the immense success of OK Computer, Radiohead was tired of all the fame. The band even made this amazing documentary describing and showing off the stress of touring for the album. It's called Meeting People is Easy. All of the bandmates, especially Tom York, were unsure of the band's direction and almost broke up because of it. But because of high demands from the record label, they persisted. Their goal this time around was to make sure people know them as more than just a rock band. So they created something atmospheric with just their newly acquired electronic equipment and instruments. Tom barely wanted to sing, and when he did, he only picked out random, vague lyrics out of a hat on certain tracks. The whole album doesn't really have much of a clear story, but follows the supposed first human clone named Kid A. As time goes by, and he learns about the dystopian environment around him, knowing about his eventual termination. Actually, I don't think that's how it goes, but let's not worry about that. One aspect Kid A learns about is the dangers of capitalism, and that's what's being portrayed on track number 6. Optimistic. One of the only few traditionally performed tracks on the album, this dark track talks about what Radiohead normally talks about, and that's the dangers of consumerism. This one, however, talks a ton about how even if the government is out to steal from the poor, all you gotta do is think that you're good enough. Keep doing what you're doing and never give up even if the situation has become dire. The second verse continues the themes of the chorus, where the narrator thinks he can save the world by escaping the swamp. The bridge then talks a bit about people in society who would love to help others, but can't because of the expectations of said society, and being trapped to help is like being trapped on a prison ship. So yeah, consumerism in society, am I right? Despite Kid A being released with no singles and no music videos, with a couple of exceptions, Optimistic got the most amount of radio play compared to the rest of the album. And with radio play comes live performances. The usual live performances of Optimistic speeds up the track, changes the tone of the bridge a couple of times, and notably explodes at the very end of the song. Out of all these performances, however, throughout the years, I want to highlight one performance in particular that you cannot find anywhere else on any official Radiohead affiliate website or YouTube video. Rather, you can only find it in an exploration video game. To coincide with the 20th anniversary of the Kid A and Amnesiac sessions, the Kid Amnesia compilation was announced and released on streaming and physical formats, and Tom York and Stanley Donwood put their artwork for the albums up for virtual and physical exhibition. And speaking of exhibition, Stanley Donwood and Radiohead would eventually collaborate with Epic Games for about a year to create the Kid Amnesia Virtual Exhibition. In the game, you play as some sort of demon-looking thing as you go for all kinds of weird and experimental exhibits, including, but not limited to, a gigantic pyramid, a sketch room, some kind of dance rave area, a ritual, a dad's paradise, an ascension chamber, a small movie theater, a Matrix-styled simulation, a floaty space of dust and nothingness, an elevator, a roundabout, a literal gallery exhibition section, and a hotel room, all while listening to the soundtrack of extracted and deconstructed sound bites and sections of multiple Kid A and Amnesiac tracks. But one of many tracks that were left out of the exhibition was Optimistic. But the only way you can access a song in exhibition form within the game is by going to the theater room. The room includes multiple interludes, commercials, and rare live performances, all in the style of the old Flash-powered Radiohead TV online program used to promote Hail to the Thief and its DVD compilation album The Biggest Lying Mouth of All Time back in 2003. One of the live performances includes an In the Basement styled session for Optimistic.
Pero
As stated before, the live version of Optimistic sounds better and crazier than the studio version, but there are multiple flaws with the live version too. In recent years, the band toned the speed of the song down, and Tom just sounds like he isn't trying anymore. It's like he just wants to get the song over with, like he's angrily talking to the ghost in his house of Morning Bell. Here, the band knows that there are multiple people with cameras all around them. There's even a camera right next to Tom's microphone, and he doesn't even notice it until the final repeat of the chorus, only occasionally looking down to tune his guitar. That's when he turns to a raging maniac and he puts all of his energy into the exploding end of the song. The speed of the song is consistent. Tom's voice, while not perfect, doesn't crack the entire time. He also holds out specific notes for long periods of times when he needs to. You can see band members as they try to do their thing, and you can even hear Ed O'Brien more clearly in the background during the bridge. Because of all the cameras around them, they feel the inclusive pressure they felt when they were making OK Computer, and they try their very best they can all in one take. And as some may see from previous examples of famous music stories, sometimes the best works of art are the pieces made by people who are under pressure and under restrictions. And that's been the case with Radiohead from the very start. Even the outro lyrics for Paranoid Android had to be changed due to a possible uproar from Christian activists. I don't know, just the fact that such a rare and amazing live performance can only be viewed in a game like this and nowhere else confuses me. But also kinda makes sense. Radiohead's gotta do what Radiohead's gotta do. I don't know, I suppose what kinda drew me to this version of the song was the roughness of the guitars, and the extra hard-hitting weight when the drums hit. This is one of the first few performances of the song that I saw, and I believe no other performance can top that. So in conclusion, this version of the song is one of the best new things Radiohead put out in 2021. The game is the most addicting, replayable exhibition game I've ever played, and every one of my friends should stop sleeping on Radiohead. Good night, Tri-State area.